Happy New Year, Packers fan community. What a way to finish the year with a win over the Minnesota Vikings. There's only one game left in the regular season, and it's an important one, especially if you still have hope for the green and gold in the playoffs. We'll discuss the win, make our predictions for the Bears game, and see what all of you have to say. All this and more coming up next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Welcome to 2024. I'm Wayne Henderson, and I've got to say, watching the Packers beat the Vikings in Minnesota was invigorating.
It most certainly was. I'm Scott Clark from the Gaming Outsider Podcast, and I have a lot of positive things to say about our favorite team this week. It feels good to be able to say that, and let's hope they can do it at least one more time. On this 292nd edition of the Packers Fan Podcast, we are excited to talk about the highs and lows from our win over the Vikes, as well as sharing in on some of our listener feedback.
And the final regular season Packers game is less than a week away, and it'll be the last game at Lambeau Field until next season, unless the improbable happens. So bring on the Bears, and count on Scott to bring his keys to a Packers victory over Chicago. Right?
Absolutely. Well, let's kick things off, man. We got lots of highlights to talk about. First off, let's kick things off with the Packers leaders in the Vikings game. Jordan Love was 24 for 33 for 256 yards, 3 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown, and 0 interceptions. On the rushing side of the ball, Aaron Jones had 20 carries for 120 yards. For those of you at home with your calculators, that's an average of 10 yards per carry. I'm sorry, 5 yards per carry. I can't do the math. I still think it's pretty awesome. Receiving, the big leader there was Bo Melton. He had 6 receptions for 105 yards, but don't count out Jaden Reed. I'm sure we're going to talk about him in the highlights as well. And on defense, Keyshawn Nixon had 11 tackles, 7 of them solo. He had a half a sack, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 pass defended, and 1 quarterback hit. So he had a pretty solid game as well. What do you think of those stats, Wayne?
Those are unbelievable considering what we were talking about just a few weeks ago. It could be a case of us just gelling at the exact right time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And like I said, we got to do it at least one more time. At least one more time. I think it would just be so good to be able to say we made it to the playoffs, and here's to hoping. Speaking of Jaden Reed, I mentioned him a second ago. He had another stellar game, 2 touchdown catches this game. That makes 10 in total for him this season, and he also, during this game, set a Green Bay rookie record for wide receivers in a single season with 60 catches, passing Sterling Sharp's record back from 1988. So he's the leading rookie receiver for the Green Bay Packers.
I will take it. He has done some incredible things. And how about our defense? I'm not sure what got into him this week, but it was very encouraging to watch. We were pretty relentless going after whomever the Vikes trotted out there to play quarterback because it seemed like a revolving door at one point.
Absolutely. They did so well. They forced the Vikings coaching staff to swap quarterbacks in the second half. This is the 5th time they've switched QBs mid-game since Cousins went down, if you remember that at the beginning of the season. It's cool that the Packers defense gets to contribute to that number.
Yes.
Not something I would have expected after the last 3 weeks that the defense put up, but it was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, and since I was at a New Year's Eve family watch party, mostly emphasis on the family party, I didn't get a chance to focus on much note-taking this particular week. But I know you, dear listener, are going to be picking up the slack on that side of it. But how about our second-year wide receiver, Bo Melton, drafted in the 7th round by the Seahawks just a year and a half ago, but now with us. And it may have taken until week 17, but we finally have a 100-yard wide receiver this year. Props to Bo Melton.
Yeah, his name didn't ring a bell.
No.
We haven't seen him so much this season, and I was like, who is that guy? Who is that guy? And he kept catching balls, and I'm like, oh, I got his name now. So, Mr. Melton, congratulations. Really love the work you did on Sunday.
And congratulations on the work you're about to do this following week.
Yeah.
And as a side bonus to our Packers absolutely dominating the Vikes in Minnesota, it helped ensure that we didn't have to suffer through too many skull chants and that annoying Vikings horn. You know, they really toned those down because we dominated from the very beginning. I would have loved it if maybe a huge contingent of Packers fans could have all gotten together maybe in the third quarter and started doing LOL, LOL. Followed, of course, with a Go Pack Go.
That's pretty funny. I will say, as as much as the Viking horn thing is annoying, I still thought it was pretty cool that Cousins was up there at the beginning of the game with his kid.
Really?
I thought that was sweet. I thought that was cool.
Oh, I didn't see the kid up there, but still.
He had both him and his kid were up there with their shirts off, like kicking the thing off, and it was kind of cool. Since he can't play, he did something. It was more cool because he had his son there. I can't believe he didn't see his son. Yeah.
No, well, we were at a party. At that point, I was probably having a lot of garlic and lemon pepper chicken wings and just trying to settle into the game.
There you go. Well, we got to talk about some lowlights. As good as the defense looked this week, there was still a gaping hole. I don't know if you remember, Wayne, but the Vikings were at 2nd and 29 due to penalties and a sack. How in the world were we not able to stop them from getting a first down? We let them convert. It wasn't until like the 3rd down that they did it, but they were able to get a first down. Obviously didn't impact the final score of the game, but still. That's what worries me about this defense is that they get far ahead, or maybe not even this far ahead, and then just kind of let these things happen. And that's been kind of the name of the game with some of these losses is these teams coming back and mounting this comeback. We can't let that happen. It just can't happen. 2nd and 29 should just be done, man. It really should be.
Or as the kids say, Dunzo Vincenzo. Yeah, there is no excuse. Once it's 2nd and 20, anything more than that, there's no excuse. But thankful that we were able to get the score we got. For me, the main and really the only negative in my book, compared to the things you've got, is more new injuries. This is not the time of year to get new injuries, and obviously no way of knowing if that shag carpet known as Minnesota's field turf exasperated the injuries or not. But McDuffie on defense, Josh Myers, Jaden Reed, and even A.J. Dillon. And Preston Smith near the end of the game got rolled up on as well. I don't know if that was enough to cause him any problems going forward, but the most serious ones seem to be Jaden Reed's chest injury, and A.J. Dillon had a stinger for a bit. So hoping they can both be back this week, but I don't know. Have you heard any rumblings?
I haven't heard anything more than what you just said, but we're still a good distance away from the game next week. On a positive note, and this is not really related to the injuries, but I should have mentioned this in the positives, but this is the first game that I remember Green Bay pulling Jordan Love at the end of the game because they were so far ahead. And that felt good to see him on the sidelines with the backup quarterback in there because there was no need to take any risks. And I was like, yes, he's our guy. That was really cool to see. I don't remember seeing that this year. Maybe somebody will correct me on next week's episode, but we'll see. Also got to talk about that muffed punt return. If you remember, Toure was set to receive a punt on 4th down. It got to him about at the 20-yard line. He didn't call for a fair catch or let it go in the end zone. Instead, he muffs it and allows Minnesota to recover. Now, we were ahead by 23 or something at this point?
Close to that,
Why in the world would you not call for a fair catch or settle for a touchback? You've got the lead. You don't need to score. What you need to do is run the clock down, and you can't do that if you don't have the ball. And that's exactly what happened is we gave them a little bit of breath of hope there. That stuff's gotta stop. This is such a Packers mentality. It seems like we get a lead or we go into games where we think we should be destroying this opponent. It's just this whole mindset that I feel like needs to change with the Packers on both sides of the ball. Don't let up. Don't let up.
Yeah, just get out of the way. If the ball happens to be down to the 2-yard line, we'll deal with that when we get to it. But we had points to spare, but not to throw away. So I agree 100% on that, Scott.
Mm-hmm. It's also time to have a serious conversation about Anders Carlson. He did hit 2 field goals and 3 point-after touchdowns this game. Unfortunately, he also missed an extra point. That's his 5th time this season missing an extra point, which is the league record right now. Nobody has missed 5 PATs.
It
wasn't a game. That's what I read. That's what I heard.
Okay.
That nobody has missed that many. So obviously that 1 point wasn't a game changer, but I'm beginning to think that there's a possibility we might not be seeing him next season if that trend continues. I know he's a rookie, and he's done some good things, but that's just so many misses in a single season. That needs to be corrected. I mean, is it too late to re-sign Mason Crosby? I mean, he's playing for the Giants now. Let's
try to get him back.
Yeah.
And the reason I said, are you sure? It's because, and granted, I want Anders Carlson to be perfect. I want him to make every single kick every single time. But it seems like, and we mentioned it a few weeks ago, but it seems even worse now that so many games that I was watching, people were missing PATs and extra points. Just like last week, it's like, I don't know what's gotten into them, but it's crazy.
It is kind of crazy. I don't know what it is with kickers this season, but I feel like I've not seen a season of this many misses.
No.
And I know that the PATs are a bit further back than they used to be. They changed that at some point. You know, they were pretty much gimmies. Like nobody ever missed them because they were so close. And I do appreciate that. It makes it a little bit more exciting. But I still think it's a chip shot. You know what I mean? Like
for professionals, yes.
It should be for professionals. It should definitely be a chip shot. But what are you going to do?
And I think that might be one of the reasons why the Detroit Lions are so aggressive. They go for it on fourth down all the time, even if they're on the other side of the field, and they go for two all the time. Maybe they just don't want to take the risk, even if they have a good field goal kicker. Just keep trying to roll up points. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a new thing in the NFL. And with that, it's time for our weekly poll question. You can find it in our Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on Twitter/X. You can find it there at Packers Fan Pod. So the question is, coming off the decisive win over the Vikes, how do you think our Packers will play next week at Lambeau Field versus the Bears? Are you overconfident because momentum is ours? We have all the momentum. Come and try to take it, or we're not going to recreate that magic again this week, but we're still going to win. Or is it going to be too close to call? The Heart Attack Pack will be back on the field. And, of course, Dan Dyler, thank you, Dan, with the write-in vote of the Bears still suck. We're winning. How about you, Scott?
Always got to count on Dan for putting that extra one in there. I'm going to say can't recreate this magic from this week, but we'll still win. I think it'll be a close win, but I think that the Bears, that rivalry is so nasty between these two teams. And even though it doesn't matter for them, they are going to be fighting for whatever they can to win this game. Justin Fields is looking a lot better. They're pretty excited because they've got first-round pick next year, thanks to Carolina sucking this year. So they've got a lot of things going for them, and they want to finish their season with a bang. And keeping the Packers out of the playoffs would definitely make them feel pretty good. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a win. But I don't think we'll see the fireworks that we did last week.
Really? I think we're going to see more fireworks. And of course, I do have my green and rose gold colored glasses. But like Aaron Rodgers said, I think it was just today on the Pat McAfee show, even Aaron Rodgers, no longer a Packer, though he will be later on as he goes into our Hall of Fame and the Hall of Fame. But he was asked about the Bears-Packers game, and he says, you know, if you never beat us, is it really a rivalry?
Wow, that's some confidence right there.
So I love that. The votes, when you combine Twitter and Facebook, or X and Facebook, 35% went with the momentum is ours. So look out. But 30% went with Dan's write-in vote of the Bears still suck. We're winning. 25% voted that the Heart Attack Pack is going to be back, so be ready. And 10% went with can't recreate the magic, but we're definitely still going to win.
We got some comments in the poll in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook group. First off, Jared McChinney-Kerr says, just as the Packers are not the same team as the beginning of the season in a good way, neither are the Bears. This smells like a trap game, just like last season when the Packers just needed to beat the Lions to make the playoffs. Tyler Seaver also replied, I think this young team is a little hungrier than last year's team, hopefully. Interesting point.
Yes. And Bill Gardner says, Bears still suck is always the right answer.
And over on Twitter, DeReal King J says, should be a cakewalk, but we know the Bears going to give us everything they got. Ain't that the truth? Thanks so much for those responses, everybody. And we're going to move on to our listener voice messages and emails. If you'd like to be a part of the upcoming podcast episodes, you can either record your voice in your phone or computer and email this recording to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com or by calling the PFP voicemail at +1 920 3-PACK-GO. We anticipate getting your brilliant audio feedback, but need to receive it by the deadline of Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So please get those in if you would like to hear your voice on the show. What's our first voicemail, Wayne?
Well, first up, we have Jared from Colorado.
Hey, Wayne and Scott, Jared in Colorado. Go Pack Go. I got to be really quiet. My baby's asleep. But man, what a wonderful New Year's Eve. Great year, or a great way to bring in the new year. Packers not only win, but they completely and utterly destroy the purple incarnations of Satan. I mean, just a beautiful game all around. Defense pleasantly surprised on that. I'm not willing to say Joe Barry saved his job. I don't think he did. He did exactly what, and the defense did exactly what they should have done in this matchup. But regardless, I will at least give him credit for calling a good defensive scheme for this week. It's bound to happen once in a while, but overall, I still think he needs to go next season. But regardless, don't need to focus on that. Defense played a fantastic game. Offense played a fantastic game. I mean, my goodness, Aaron Jones, love seeing him back, seeing him healthy. He's playing exactly like we've expected him to play, and it's working out great. I mean, the running game is strong. It's opening up the passing game. Jordan Love is just putting it where it needs to be. He's clearly learning. And I think we, as a fan base, need to give mad props and mad credit to Tom Clements, our quarterback coach, because he was a quarterback coach for Brett Favre. He was a quarterback coach for Aaron Rodgers. He retires. And then last season, Aaron Rodgers convinces him to come out of retirement and also convinces the Packers organization to hire him back in order to help Jordan Love basically kind of clean up a lot of the things that he was needing to work on. And look at what we got. I mean, not trying to discount Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, you need the talent. But, man, you want to talk about someone who is clearly a quarterback coach wizard. Tom Clements really knows how to coach up a quarterback, because Jordan Love is looking fantastic. But beautiful win. Super excited. Aside from that, Jaden Reed, I mentioned it in the Facebook post, but he is our wide receiver one as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not trying to, and Christian Watson, when he's healthy, yes, technically is our wide receiver one, but I am a little bit nervous about Watson. I'm wondering whether or not the team will, whether or not the Packers will stick with him in the long term, because if he can't, I truly do think that this next season is going to be a deciding factor as to whether or not the Packers hold on to him in the long term, because he's a great player, love the guy, but unfortunately in this league, and really in any sport, if he can't stay healthy, he can't stay off the injury report for, I mean, it sucks and it's unfortunate, but hopefully you can get that turned around and get it figured out. But, man, great win. Love it. Packers are on the Bears, are at home. They're in control of their own destiny. Once again, if they win, they're in the playoffs. So I'm really excited. I think it'll be a great experience for the young guys to make it into the playoffs. Again, I think I mentioned before, but the fact that we're even talking about the playoffs is just super cool. I mean, the youngest team in the NFL, what was, for all intents and purposes, considered to be a rebuild season, kind of evaluating rookie talent, evaluating whether or not Jordan Love is the guy. And here we are, one win away from making it to the dance. So, I'm all in for it. I don't want to focus on whether, if they make it in the playoffs, whether or not they'll make a long run. It really doesn't matter. Once you're in the dance, anything can happen. That's why they say any given Sunday or Monday or Sunday or Saturday or Thursday, regardless. Anyways, this has gone long enough. Point is, great win. Love the green and gold. Believe the green and gold's home dead and cold. Go Pack Go. And, yeah, we'll see what happens next week.
Go Pack Go indeed. Thank you so much, Jared, for your voicemail. Really appreciate it. He made some good points, especially about Joe Barry. I know that's been like a big talk of the town. Yeah, one game isn't going to save your job, but I'm glad that he decided to try. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the offseason. And I love the optimism. He made it's kind of what we've been saying. Like, nobody really expected us to make it to the playoffs, although I think at the end of last season, we gave our predictions for the record. I think I said 12-5 or something like that, which was pretty optimistic. I mean, granted, we could have won that many games, right? It totally could have happened. The ones that we lost could have been won easily, but that's the way it goes. But like you said, nobody thought the Packers were going to be in a spot in Week 17 to be looking for a playoff position. So even if we don't make it, I know he's very optimistic. He says, as long as you get to the dance, you're there. Because it's like starting over. You know what I mean? It's just that the record doesn't matter at that point anymore outside of who you're playing against. But getting there is the most important thing. And once we're there, that's all that matters. Everything else is in the past, and it's all about looking forward. And I love that mentality. You agree?
Oh, absolutely. Bring on the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at it, of course, win and we're in. It's as simple as win the next 5 games and we're Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, that's it. Just 5 more games, man. That's it.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Sure. He also gave a lot of credit to Tom Clements. Another great point. Favre, Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. That's a pretty good track record, and we got to give him credit. Yes, these are great players, but he has been coaching them up, and a lot of people didn't believe in Jordan Love. I've had my doubts, but I was still thought he was our guy, and it's looking more and more each week that he is. And yeah, thank you, Mr. Clements. I appreciate the hard work.
Yes, thank you very, very much indeed. And Jared sent a quick PS saying, huge shout out to Jaden Reed for beating Sterling Sharp's franchise record for the most receptions by a rookie wide receiver in their first season. Also, can't dote on Jordan Love enough. He is putting up these numbers with rookie wide receivers that he barely has had time to play with. Our receiver room is injured, and hell, he's still making magic happen with a bunch of backups. I love this team.
I saw a stat yesterday that Jordan Love now has more touchdown passes and passing yards than any Chicago Bears quarterback in franchise history. Like that's happened. That's pretty.
That's amazing.
Pretty cool thing to say for a rookie. Well, he's not a rookie,
but still,
first season.
And the fact there's still 1 game left, so they can't say, "Oh, asterisk, you played 17 games, and most of them were 16-game seasons." And of course, before that, there were 14-game seasons and 12-game seasons. But still, somebody on the Bears should have been able to have gotten more yards and touchdowns.
Yes, I agree.
That's on them.
I think it's fair to say that 2023 ended on an amazing note. This might have been the best day of the year. That was a stunning performance on all accounts. Where was our defense the entire rest of the season? But whatever, they showed up. I mean, those first half stats, we had like 250 something yards and they had less than 100. And like time of possession, totally skewed, first down skewed, like all in favor of the Packers. It was freaking awesome. Just amazing. This is Megan. Go Pack Go. Happy New Year, everyone. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But, Jordan Love, just on fire. Like, he had a few overthrows and a few misses, but like, honestly, he is so talented. It's so fun to watch. And our team, like, we have so much potential. It's just amazing. It's so great to see. Like, there's obviously depth at different positions, like Preston going out for a bit and Igbari coming in, still doing well. Slayton came in and just dominated after we fumbled the ball, and I know they got the touchdown, but whatever. They have nothing on us. And go Pack Go. In Minnesota, it's literally the best way to end the year. Go Pack Go. Have we talked about Jaden Reed being fun to watch? Because he's so freaking fun to watch, and he's so talented, and he's a rookie, and the best is yet to come. Like, I just can't even believe it. I hope he's not too injured and can play again next week, but he's amazing to watch. Kraft is so fun to watch. Jordan just gets the ball out to everyone. Bo Melton, again, stepping up. It's just amazing. Obviously, Aaron Jones, that goes without saying. A.J. Dillon, powerful, powerful running tonight. It's just been it's just been so much fun. It's just been so much fun. Like, I got invited to go to the game because obviously, unfortunately, I live in Vikings territory, and I declined because I don't want to step foot in US Bank Stadium. No, thank you. But I could have gone tonight in hindsight, but I'm not going to do it. Anyways, we have the best team in the NFL. They're just the best in every way, and no one will ever change my mind. So I'm green and gold till I'm dead and cold. Let's go! We control our destiny, baby. Let's freaking go! This is my last message for tonight, but also we need to give a lot of credit to Valentine. I mean, myself included, when Jair was out or suspended or whatever for this game, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's like we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and I feel like the Packers want to maintain this standard of excellence, not just on the field but off the field. And Jair's hilarious, but he probably shouldn't have done that. So it's it is what it is. And anyways, and then having Stokes be out, people were probably panicking, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Valentine stepped up. He totally stepped up. He's in the mix to be a starter. Seriously. Almost every week he's making plays, and just got to give a lot of props to him. So shout out to him. Shout out to our defense for showing up this week. Let's hope they can continue to bring it next week and into the playoffs, baby. Let's go.
Let's go, and go Pack go indeed. Megan, thank you very much for your thoughts, your voice messages, and all that good stuff. It really was an amazing way to close out 2023, or as Brett and Colm and Dictus and others overseas, best way to open up 2024. But yeah, Jaden Reed, even though he set all these records, he's also fun to watch, right, Scott?
He is so much fun to watch. I think Jared mentioned that he's pretty much our wide receiver one at this point. It's hard to argue with that. Christian Watson has been the guy, but he's Mr. Glass at this point. So, I mean, he's proven himself. He's proven himself quite well. I mean, we just said he set the rookie record. How can you not consider him to be a WR1? So I'm with you. By the way, I love that Megan is the gift that just keeps on giving just when you think it's done. There's another voicemail. I don't know if you heard me laughing, but I was getting ready to sit up and respond, and then there was another one. It just totally cracked me up.
But wait, there's more. It's so good. And Megan, I totally understand not wanting to step foot into Vikings Stadium, even though Scott has said he liked it when he went. But in hindsight, how fun would it have been to have been there and witnessed all that beauty in person?
Absolutely. I never stay away from rival stadiums. I've been to Soldier to tour it. I've been to Soldier to attend a game. I've not been to US Bank, but I've been there to. I've not been there for a game, but I've been there to tour it. It doesn't matter. Just go soak it in. Wear your Packer gear underneath whatever it is you're wearing so you can support. But it's just really fun seeing those stadiums and seeing how they're all laid out so differently. I recommend it.
Very, very differently indeed. And Megan, great point about Ballantyne because, Jair's not there. We're doomed. We're doomed again. Every time somebody goes down or isn't at a game, we're doomed. Remember earlier this season, even I thought, wow, how are we without David Bakhtiari? He's injured again. What are we going to do? And it's been pretty much just fine. But Ballantyne made sure that we didn't have to see the purple ones doing the gritty too often. And that's another small victory.
Absolutely. Anytime you can put that down. My students do that all the time, and they're not even Vikings fans. It's just this cool thing to do. Drives me crazy. Stop. No gritty in my classroom. None of it.
Go to Guitar Center. Don't play Stairway to Heaven. Go to Mr. Clark's classroom. Don't do the gritty.
There you go.
Noted.
Go Pack, go. This is David out in San Antonio. My voice doesn't show my excitement. I just got to be a little quieter with a sleeping baby upstairs. But man, what a win today! Where has this defense been all year? Granted, they playing Jaron Hall, but at the same time, where's Joe Barry? Use these type of schemes to take advantage of young quarterbacks. But would have been nice to see them, only hold a 3 points moratorium. Unfortunately, knocked them out of that opportunity. What I will say, though, is the scary part is that them only giving up 10 points to the Vikings also makes me worry that Joe Barry just potentially saved his job, which is an unfortunate situation. But love the win. Jordan Love looked great. 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. And what that means is that in 16 games, he now has more passing yards and more passing touchdowns than any Bears quarterback has ever done in a single season. That is just amazing to think about of how long the Bears have been around, and Jordan Love in his first year as a starter has already eclipsed anything that their franchise has ever done. It's just another great team win. They're in the 7th seed of the playoffs as of right now. Win next week, get in. Bears are playing much better football. Justin Fields is playing much better football. This isn't going to be a cakewalk in Lambeau Field. Hopefully they come in and they take care of business next week, and we can see Jordan Love in his first year as a starter in the playoffs, and that would just be awesome to see. And then hopefully next May they're locking him up to a long-term deal. Well, it was another great win. Happy New Year to everyone, and go Pack go, as always. Green, gold, till then, gold.
Go Pack go indeed. Thanks, David. Or should I say Dr. Newman. Appreciate the call. And I know you got to keep your voice down because that's another person with a sleeping baby. Just like Jared had to call in a little quietly. Yeah.
Right.
He made a good point about, we wanted to see the defense do well, but is that enough for him to save his job? Because I think we all are done with Joe Barry at this point. But it's kind of a catch-22, right? You want him to do well because you want him to do well this season, but we're already thinking of next season, and we don't want him to keep his job because he's already proven that he needs to be done.
Right. Even if we're keeping him to the end of the season, and even if the end of the season is that we somehow win the Super Bowl, thanks for your services, Joe Barry. We'll see you later.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
No.
David also talked about how Fields and the Bears are playing better, this time of year especially. But this is a game to be afraid of, and we'll get to that later on with my keys. But they're on fire. They are looking really solid. Like I mentioned, they've got an exciting season for them next year as well, with the draft picks and some new coaching things happening. So they're going to want to leave swinging as hard as they can, and this could be a very dangerous game.
Yeah, because on one hand, when we beat the Vikings, we mathematically eliminated the Bears from the playoffs, so they might be crushed and not show up, but we got to be prepared for them to show up because they might just say, what the heck, do everything we can just because of how much they hate us.
Yeah.
So be ready for anything.
Go, Pack, go! Happy Victory Monday. I love it. Okay, there's no way the team we saw beat the brakes off the Vikings is the same team who nearly fell to the Panthers or lost to the Bucks and the Giants. It truly feels like what's been said before, I think. Scott actually said it last week, I believe. This team plays down to the teams we should beat and up to the teams we shouldn't. Absolutely frustrating. Jaden Reed. I said last week, I think it was, the Packers have no clear-cut number one wide receiver. I take that back. It's him. It's that dude. It's Reed. It's not Watson. Reed now holds the franchise record of the Green Bay Packers for receptions by a rookie, and he's only one of 3 rookies to ever score 10 or more touchdowns in their rookie campaign. That's pretty impressive. Really is impressive. Jordan Love. Man, that guy is just balling out. Even in the games that we lose, he's showing that he's the guy. He is the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers. So I'm excited for what the future holds. I mean, the fact that in his first year as a starter, with all these new pieces around him, a whole new regime, a whole new way of thinking about things, I believe. I mean, I know LaFleur's been there for, I think this is his 5th season. Maybe 6th. But with the departure of Aaron Rodgers, you have to come up with a different game plan that suits the abilities of your quarterback, the man that is holding the ball every single snap, or almost every single snap. I think it's just crazy that he is the number 6 quarterback on the season, despite the fact what our record is showing. But most of the games that we have lost, we were in it to the very end. Like, it was a 1-score game. I think there's only been 2 games that we were beaten so badly that there was basically no chance to get back in it. And then you have Aaron Jones, who just ran roughshod all over the Vikings yesterday. That was so good to see. We had 177 yards rushing. I don't know when the last time we had that many yards on the ground. That's awesome to see. The red zone going 2 for 4. Didn't like to see that very much. That's still only 50%. That's not going to get you too many wins. Winning the turnover battle was great. The time of possession, we possessed the ball almost an entire quarter longer than the Vikings did. This is not the game I expected to see, but they really showed up. And I am really stoked to see what's going to happen with the Bears. The Bears are going to be, I think they're going to be hard to beat because they're basically playing the same role that Detroit did last year to keep us out of the playoffs. And the only way for us to win is for the exact same team that showed up against the Lions, the Chiefs, the Chargers, during that good stretch of wins, is to show up Sunday afternoon at Lambeau Field and prove that we own the Bears. And I just have one thing left to say. Go, 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 go. Ooh, wait a minute. I also got to say happy birthday to my lovely wife, Jill. Happy birthday, babe. I love you. Now back to our regular scheduled programming. Go, 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 Pack, go! I'm out. Also, fire Joe Barry. Now I'm really out.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Dan. Happy New Year. And yes, I don't know why, but on the surface, it seems like we are playing down to the competition or vice versa. And that's what Dan has about that. I'm in agreement there. I don't know why or how, because in your keys to victory, you even remind us on these easy games, don't be overconfident. And maybe that's what's going wrong.
I don't understand how you can be overconfident in a game ever, yes, but in a game that is basically a playoff game. There's no such thing as overconfidence at the end of a season. It just makes me so angry. Maybe
that's the secret. Now that everything's on the line and we have to win every single week, we will do so.
Yeah.
And
hope so.
Dan had another great point about how Green Bay is successfully game planning around the quarterback that they currently have. Because it's definitely a different game plan than we've seen in years past.
Well, I mean, whether people accepted him as our guy or not, he is our guy. You know what I mean? We don't have another solid plan outside of Jordan Love. So you gotta do the best that you can with what you've got. And thankfully what we've got is Jordan Love. So he's our guy.
Very thankful as well. And how about the turnovers? That truly was something that stood out in that game.
Mm-hmm. The turnovers have been great. I mean, we had a little bit of help with we had a rookie quarterback in there that, if I had known that going into this week, I would have had a different, prediction for how the game was going to turn out. But it is what it is. Those calls are made after we made our predictions, and I'll still stick with it. So
I don't see any quarterbacks on the Vikings roster that aren't really rookies. So whatever. But also, Dan sent in a quick nugget that he saw online just a couple hours ago from a friend of mine. It says, imagine being a Bears, Vikings, or Lions fan and spending all the offseason throwing jabs at Green Bay, saying things like, I hope you enjoyed your back-to-back Hall of Famers because now you're going to be the NFC North punching bag now. You won't even sniff the playoffs for the next 5 or more years just to have Jordan Love run you out of your own building now. That's an excellent point. The Packers mathematically eliminated the Bears with this week's win. If they win next Sunday, the Vikings are eliminated almost for sure. And if the Rams lose to Frisco, which is very possible, the Packers would head to Detroit for the wild card game and potentially eliminate all 3 NFC North rivals in 3 consecutive weeks.
Dude, that would be just so amazing. Like that would be enough. Like, don't get me wrong, I want the Super Bowl, but like that, I would just consider it a W for the season if we were able to pull that off. It'd be great.
Yeah, because also if things work out and mathematically I don't have enough red string to make the charts on my wall, but we could conceivably move up to the number 6 seed, and then potentially all the teams ahead of us lose in the playoffs, leaving just the number 6 seed versus the number 7 seed championship game at Lambeau Field.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's make that happen. You want to talk about a fairy tale season? That would be fantastic. We also got a mostly happy email from CCR in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Crazy game we had against the Vikings. That great win keeps our hopes alive for the playoffs. But although we won, we must still try to improve our defensive game. Another thing we need to do is keep our players healthy and staying in the game. Way too many injuries, it seemed. We had some great plays, including the Jordan Love touchdown run. No matter what happens next week against the Bears, go Pack go, bleed green and gold till dead and cold. Happy New Year, Packers family. Caleb, Kathy, and Roy Fisher.
Thanks so much for that, guys. Really appreciate it. They make a good point about the defense. 1 week doesn't change everything. We need to keep that going for the rest of the season as well. Your calls, emails, comments, and support are the highlight to the Packers Fan Podcast. Thank you for all of your feedback all season long. Remember to be part of the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community and be part of the conversation. Head over to packerscommunity.com. Check all the action out. Join in, especially for our live game chat session for Bears at Packers. It'll be the last time we get to do that for the regular season. So, definitely join in the fun. It's a lot of fun conversations.
And we'll be looking for you there. Your 8-8 Green Bay Packers are back home at Lambeau Field one last time for this season, hosting the 7-9 Chicago Bears. Sunday, January 7th, they released the time and date. It's going to be at 3:25 p.m. Central Time and on CBS for some reason. So we're going to have Tony Romo and company calling the game, which will definitely make it even better. The Packers lead the series against the Bears. We all know that, but it's 106 games to 95 and 6 ties. And to say that our rivalry with Chicago goes back a ways, it's an understatement. Who wouldn't want to travel back in time if they could and watch the Packers take on the Staleys for the first time on November 27th, 1921? I mean, what's 102 years between rivals? The Staleys became the Bears just a year or so later after that. And it's hard to believe, it really is, it seems like yesterday, but November 9th, 2014, over 9 years ago, I can still remember almost having chills when the score at halftime was 42-0 in favor of the Packers. The final score that night was 55-14. We can only hope that next Sunday's game will be that exciting. Maybe Preston Smith or Kenny Clark can get a turnover around the 10 or 15-yard line and run it in for the dagger touchdown, locking in our playoff spot just like we had back in the day. Would it be a coincidence? Maybe not, but obviously win or lose, the Bears still suck. I mean, they did write and record a song about that back in the day. Right?
Well, they didn't.
Well,
also, my buddy Chris, who is a huge Bears fan, called me today actually to tell me that he got a ticket to the game.
Whoa.
He's actually going alone because it was only a single ticket. And he said that this is the first time in his life that he's attended both Bears-Packers games in a single season, one at Soldier and one at Lambeau. So I thought that was kind of cool. Wouldn't it be cool to be able to say you did that? I mean, I don't have season tickets or anything like that, but he got it for a good price too. I was a little jealous. I couldn't go, but it's going to be there's no way I could have pulled off going, between, because I go back to work the following Monday after 2 weeks off. It's going to be crazy, but Chris is a good buddy of mine, even though, he's got that small flaw of being a Bears fan. I hope he has a good time over there. So,
yeah. And especially this season with the games being at opposite ends of the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, I forget who it is. Might be Vikings Lions. They play twice in 3 weeks or something like that. So some teams just get wacky scheduling. Now, Sunday's weather at Lambeau Field should be pretty spectacular for a Packers-Bears game. 32 degrees Fahrenheit at kickoff, 0 degrees Celsius, cloudy and breezy. Originally, they were calling for sleet and potentially snow, but that's kind of faded out. But then again, you know how the weather is. It could fade back in. And would this be a game if it's going to be 0 degrees Celsius at kickoff? Do you bundle up, Scott, or not just yet?
Oh, I mean, you still bundle up. I mean, it's not like it's that's literally freezing temperature.
Yes, it is.
You still got to you got to bundle up. But I've been to games much colder than that, where you got to wear several layers. And as you know, Wayne, you've been there. You are packed in on those bench seats. You know what I mean? So you kind of get some warmth from all the people around you. Especially, he's actually going to be in the front row on like the 15-yard line behind the Bears bench.
Nice.
So you know it's going to be packed down that close. So you know you get some heat from the fellow fans over there. It'll be great.
Well, with that, what do the Packers have to do to beat the Bears and go into the playoffs, Scott?
This week, it is pretty basic, man, because that's all it really takes is the fundamentals of football to win this game. First off, strategy number 1 is run defense. The Bears are second in the league with rushing yards, partially due to the legs of Justin Fields. So the Packers are going to have a chance in this game. It's going to be on the defensive side of the ball, especially against the rush. This hasn't been a strength most of the season, and it is vital here this week. Number 2, don't fall for the trap. This was alluded to in one of our comments, but the odds are in the Packers' favor this week, at least on paper. By all accounts, they should win this game. Even though it does absolutely nothing for the Bears if they win, they would like nothing more than to keep the dream of the playoffs out of the Packers' heads. This season has been a mixed bag of games we lost that we should have won, and this one has it written all over it. This is a playoff game, even if it doesn't seem like one or isn't literally a playoff game, and it needs to be treated as such. So come out the gate strong and don't ever let off the gas. 2nd and 29. Just don't let off the gas. That's all I'm saying. And strategy number 3, don't let the injuries affect you. The Packers have proven time and time again that the missing players this season have affected our outcome very little. This week, we were without Jair Alexander, and the defense played great. We haven't had Bakhtiari all season, and Love has had plenty of time in the pocket. Christian Watson has been injured more often than not, yet Love keeps finding receivers each and every week. They've got this mentality that they'll play with whomever they've got on the field, and this week should be no different. Play through the injuries, keep the dream alive. I'm keeping the faith, and I'm hoping that the team is doing the exact same thing.
Oh, man, I'm pumped up. Go Pack, go, Scott. Go Pack, go. I like it. Keys to victory from Scott Clark, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. And moving on to our 2023 season wager o fun. Last week, here were Wayne's and my predictions. I predicted actually Minnesota was going to win.
Wow.
27-17. Again, would have been differently if I had known they were starting a rookie quarterback, but I'll still hold to it. Wayne predicted a Packers win at 21-17. His differential was 19 because this is a much higher scoring game than I think any of us anticipated, at least on the Packers side of the ball. So Wayne does get the point this week, and next week we'll determine whether or not I've got it locked in or not, because there's no clinching in the PFP wager of fun, and if the playoffs keep going. So we're going to wait and see what happens there. In the PFP listener section for Sunday's game, we have, the winner this week is David Newman. He predicted 24-20, which was a differential of 19. So that means that he gets another feather in his cap for the Packers. So here are the standings. Currently, Wayne has 4 wins. I have 7 wins. And then still holding fast in first place for the listeners, David Newman has 5 wins this week.
Wow. Great work, David.
Yeah. And keep in mind, he's got 5 wins. That's more than you. And you only had to go up against me.
I appreciate
he had to go against all the other listeners.
I appreciate the reminder.
Second place, we still got a 2-way tie with Dan Dyler and Jay Walters, who each have 3 wins. Again, if they win this week, that could still be up in the air, but we're going to wait and see. And then in third place, Brett Connor also has 1 win. So he's still. It's going to be you have to do like 4 weeks in a row. So, but I'm pulling for him.
Right. With the mathematical possibility of the Super Bowl on the table, that's 5 more games. So,
yeah,
there we go.
This week, I am going to predict a Packers win. I'm going to finish the regular season with the Packers win for my predictions. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I think it's going to be a heart attack game. I'm going to say Green Bay 27, Chicago 24.
I like that you're calling for a victory. Heart attack Pack is back in your mind. I think it's going to be more of a blowout. I would like to say a huge blowout like this past week, but let's go with Packers 30, Bears 20. Both teams are probably going to miss an extra point.
There you go.
Because that is tradition this season.
All right, here's the listener picks for Week 18 of the PFP Wager of Fun. Alex Bartman predicts Green Bay winning 28-17. Travis Baker, Green Bay 28, Chicago 13. Jared McChinney-Kerr says that Green Bay is going to win 31-20. Brett Connor says 28-21 in favor of the green and gold. And Jay Walters says Green Bay 38, Chicago 31. And lastly, David Newman says Green Bay 27, Chicago 24. Now, did I just that is not intentional. I did not realize I was doing the exact same score that David predicted, but hey, just saying, that would probably be a good strategy, but I swear I had mine in there before I saw his score, so I'm not copying you, David.
I understand. And Jay Walters, with a score pick of 38-31, is calling for almost no defense on either team.
Yeah, that would be a shootout for sure. That would be a lot of fun to watch.
That would be
a lot of fun
pretty
to watch.
crazy. So the NFC North, as it stands now, the division champs this year, the Lions are 11-5, Packers 8-8, Bears 7-9, Vikings 7-9. I like it.
Yeah, did not expect that. You know, the last 4 or 5 weeks ago, I did not see that coming. So. Some other NFL happenings this week. I feel like we need to discuss the elephant in the room, which is the ending to that Cowboys-Lions game. Dwayne, did you get a chance to watch this game live, or did you just read about it?
No, I watched it. It was crazy. Okay. I have no idea what was going on.
Okay, so let me break it down. The Lions basically came back to score a touchdown with like a minute 30 left. Like they had a minute 30 to score, and they marched down 80 yards to score a touchdown. They decided to go for 2 to outright win the game instead of going for the extra point to tie the game.
Crazy.
And go into overtime, which is a bold strategy, Cotton. Did not work out for them, although some might argue that it did. So what happened was it took like 3 plays because all this stuff happened. But their first attempt, they threw a touchdown, or maybe it was a second attempt. I can't remember. I think it was the first attempt. Threw a touchdown to a lineman, scored not a touchdown, but converted the 2-point conversion.
Right.
All of a sudden, they're celebrating, or like the Lions won this game. Holy cow, that's insane. And all of a sudden, there's a flag, and the flag was illegal touch, claiming that the receiver did not report in as eligible. But if you look back at the tape, the video shows that this particular player came up to the ref, but the ref says he doesn't remember talking to him. And the argument is, why else would a lineman come up and talk to the ref unless he was reporting in? The way I understood it as it was playing out is the player's number they called wasn't the player that caught the ball. It was a different lineman that didn't report in. I'm being told from other people that it's not the case, that the refs made the wrong call here. I feel like I can't get a straight answer. However, I will say what makes it really interesting is that none of the refs from that team that coached that game will be working in the offseason, as they've all been, quote, downgraded. So
it's a way to put it.
That fact makes the whole thing seem really interesting. That the NFL is downgrading that team right after that game seems a little fishy to me.
Especially when usually the NFL is totally backing the refs or saying they'll look at it further.
Yeah,
standing behind them, and this time they actually did something. It's like, wait a minute, something did happen. And to add, not insult to injury, but it's very interesting how the flag on that play, as well as on a couple other plays, came out so late. I mean, it was like the game was over. The teams were practically on their buses. Exaggerating.
Yeah.
But, oh my goodness, it was a mess. And coach of the Lions looked like he was about to just lose it. Is one way to put it. So the Lions... Interesting thing, when you play them in the playoffs, if we play them or whoever plays them, you do not know what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're so aggressive. They're just going to go for it. You better be ready. It's insane. On the AFC side of things, to me, the Baltimore Ravens are absolutely peaking at the right time. And although any team can beat any team on any given Sunday, in the AFC, I don't see anyone stronger than the Baltimore Ravens right now. Plus, Lamar Jackson is saving my Packers Fan Podcast fantasy football team a lot lately.
Yeah, I've been pretty happy with him. I got him on a different team, so I feel you're paying there, or you're not paying, but you're good stuff going on there. Man, fantasy football has been up and down for me this season. I could talk all day about that, but all right. I want to remind everybody about my other podcast, The Gaming Outsider. We're releasing a new episode every week. And this past week, we talked about our resolutions for 2024, both video game related and otherwise. We also checked in to see how we did with our 2023 resolutions. And also, this is really, really cool. I had the pleasure of interviewing the developer of the game that wound up being my favorite game of the year. It was an awesome conversation, and I hope that you check it out because I was really proud of being able to get that interview. You can hear my show, The Gaming Outsider, at the same places you listen to this one, and you can find our website at thegamingoutsider.com. Thanks for giving back to your Packers Fan Podcast via Patreon. We really do appreciate it. If you'd like to join in or check out other ways to support the PFP, all the details are at packersfanpodcast.com/giveback. Jay Walters, AR12 level patron, Go Pack Go, and thank you. Dan Dyler, thank you and Go Pack Go for supporting the PFP at the Jordan Love level.
Also, Go Pack Go's and thank yous to our wonderful Brett Favre level patrons, Scott Boers, Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast, Megan and Colm Nolan from Ireland, and Curly Lambo. He has inspired these supporters. Thanks and Go Pack Go to Brett Connor, Joe Christensen, and Hank Davis from the TPE network of podcasts. Please check out all the details on how you could support the show at packersfanpodcast.com/giveback. And as a reminder, the Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. But at the same time, we would still love it if you'd tell your friends about the Packers Fan Podcast. Thank you.
Also, if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at PackersFanPod, or you can follow me personally at GoCastScott, and Wayne's handle is at Wayne Henderson. And here is PFP community members Megan, Dan Dyler, and Joe Christensen with their Go Pack Go outro to help us get amped up to crush the Bears.
Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go!
Go, 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 go! Go Pack